Yo, air me now, air me now, air me now. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Flacco. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yep, you're good.
Give me a regular mic check. Flacco.
Let me check. Is the stream on
you
right
sound
now?
good. Yeah, you sound good. You sound good. Yo, see, let me check your mic.
Huh?
You sound good too.
Huh?
Yo, perfect. We're missing Zulu today, but it's all good. It's all good. If Zulu's not here, we still got Flacco, we got me, we got Seed. So check this out, boys. Today we have a special guest. You know, we did the Magic Mark interview, we did the Africa interview, and we were talking with the boys. We said, yo, listen, we gotta do an interview with any member who any it doesn't have to be a GM. It can be an officer of a guild, it can be a member of a guild, it doesn't matter as long as there's a story behind it and we have something to discuss. We said fuck it, we're gonna do it. So today we have joining us Mr. Uncle Ruckus, also known as George51 on Reddit and on Twitch.
Yo.
Shout out to Uncle Ruckus, man.
Yo, what's up, Mojo?
Did you get a new mic, bro?
I did. Compliments of Sarge, actually.
Really?
Yeah, he got tired of hearing me with my banged up crap, so.
Damn, bro. How many fucking shitty mics he saw me go through? Never got me a mic.
I must have just sold him out there.
Yo, but all right. So let me get this straight, right? Tell me if I'm getting this straight or if I'm wrong here. So, vastly superior officer, right?
Yes. Yep.
Which was a strong ZVZ guild. If anybody knows them before, they used to do GVG and ZVZ. A lot of ZVZers and GVGers came from there. Season champ with BA, right?
Yep.
And current officer in Militant. What am I missing here?
Leader of Death and Taxes.
Then. Yeah, GM.
Yes. There you go. GM of Death and Taxes, which was like
the founding GM, yeah.
Which was like a small scale guild, right?
We were a hodgepodge. I mean, we were kind of a ganking guild, and we were originally known as an Avalonian guild because we started the first Avalonian Discord. So, and I'll explain the story behind that. But then we grew big enough to do
the first Avalonian Discord.
Yeah, the original Avalonian Discord. We were the initiators of that in Death and Taxes. Like, we.
Yay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, we initiated that and stuff like that. It was basically me and Felipe Calzone and a bunch of people from Vastly Superior. After we got kicked out of Tea Party, we decided to make our own guild, and they wanted me to be the GM.
All right, we'll get to that. We'll get to that though. We'll get to that. I don't want to skip ahead. here.
Yeah.
So first of all, where'd you get the name Uncle Ruckus from? Where'd you get the name George51 from?
George51. So George51 is kind of been my online moniker for as long as I've been online. That's just what I've used for most of anything, and I'll talk about that. The name Uncle Ruckus is from this pretty much racist character from the cartoon show called The Boondocks. And the reason I named my character this is so before I get to that, just some backtrack. Like I've played games since like 1997. I've played MMOs. Like Ultima Online came out in 97. I had a friend's brother who got me into that game. And I loved it because you could go on there and you could kill people. You could take their stuff.
Well, you were playing MMOs in what years?
1997.
1990. Wait, what? Right? How old are you?
I'm 38.
Oh shit, you're not old.
Yeah, some people think I'm in my 60s. Every time somebody tries to insult me about my age, the number goes up.
Real quick, the black demographic does not believe Uncle Ruckus is racist. That is your perception of him.
Hey, perspective is reality, I guess.
Wait, right? See, did you ever watch Boondocks?
Come on, bro. Bro, who didn't watch the Boondocks?
I don't know. I never watched it that much, but I know what it is. You know, like I've seen clips.
Yes, it
I've
was
seen
super
clips.
popular, bro.
I've seen clips. You know.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, you're not that old. You're 38 years old. So you're playing games when you're like
Yeah.
what, 16, 17, 15? The MMOs you
Before.
said?
I was
Before.
12 years old when I was exposed to Ultima Online. Started playing the beta with dial-up internet, the old 56K dial-up internet. And I just loved the sandbox game, and it was my first experience, and it was the greatest experience I've ever had in gaming.
Wait, what was it
And
called?
ever
The
since
game?
then, Ultima
Ultima
Online.
Oh,
You
Ultima Online. Wait, so do you know Gluttony and Awful Company and those guys?
I'm
Or was
very,
it-
very familiar with EQMS, of
Cool.
course. I was
Okay.
in one of the free shards back in like 2009. I was in EQMS. I think it was Divinity. I can't remember. UO Divinity, whatever. I was in EQMS, and it was funny because everybody hated them in UO because you know what they did? They zerged everybody down, right?
Right.
So it was always funny. But I know of Gluttony from there, and that was where I met Jonah Vale. Actually, was playing
Really?
free servers. Yeah, in
How
Ultima
old
Online.
is Jonah Vale then?
Yo.
Jonah's
He be
almost my
lying
age.
to us, dude.
Hell yeah!
No, Jonah is almost my age.
Holy
Yo,
And-
that's
shit.
crazy. I thought
Yeah.
he was younger for some reason. Younger than me, at
No,
least.
dude, he's close to my age.
Wait, see, how old are
He's
you?
about the same age as Sarge.
Wait, how old is he? See, you're 35, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, about 35.
So, did you ever play EVE Online or no?
So I played Eve a little bit, but the sci-fi space genre just wasn't my thing. I preferred traditional fantasy, which like Albion kind of is. You know what I mean? Like a World of Warcraft, which is kind of like a dark traditional fantasy. Warhammer, those things. That was like the genre that just most attracted me. I was a big Dungeons and Dragons guy when I was young, so. Hey, look, I'm a nerd, but I don't care. You know what I mean? I was also second to state in wrestling. I played college football, so you can just.
Oh, so you weren't like you were a nerd, but you weren't a dork.
Yeah, I was a nerd when I got home from practice. That's how it worked.
Gotcha.
Right. But I played a little bit of Eve. I played Darkfall. I was Darkfall was like basically I think what people wanted kind of after UO basically got sold out because EA bought Ultima Online
Sure.
and turned it into a cash cow, which is what they do with everything, and they ruined the game. This game called Darkfall came out, and I played that with Jonah Vale, and then
Dang.
played some Ultima Online.
What
free
year was
servers.
this? What year was this?
Darkfall came out, I want to say 06, 07.
Wait, so you know Jonah Vale for like 15, 16 years?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I've played with him
crazy.
for quite some time, and so
It's crazy. Like,
I played World of
Small
Warcraft
world, bro.
too.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I played a lot of games, and then as I in 2010 I got married, I started a family, and yeah, I didn't have enough time to really game a whole lot, but I always kept up with gaming, right? And I didn't play any games like seriously until 2000 and it was about 2018ish, I think. I can't remember. 2007. It was around season 5, season 6 of Albion. I forget
Yeah.
what year that
But
was.
before we get to Albion though, like so you used to wrestle, you used to play MMOs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So let's say we went to high school together. Who were you? What kind of person were you? Like
I was friends with
were you like
people
an
in every
athlete for
clique.
like were you good at school and then going wrestling and then going home playing video games? Like what was it like? Like what were you like?
I was friends with people in every group, right? The choir kids, the athletes. I was obviously friends with them. They were my teammates. The car guys, you know what I mean? All the cliques in high school. Like I had friends in every group, and it's just because like I could relate to almost everybody. Not almost everybody, but I could relate to a lot of people. I don't know why. It's just my personality. Like I never discounted somebody because of what group they were in or what clothes they wore, or anything like that. The thing that mattered to me was just whether or not, you were fun to hang out with or not, And to be honest with you, where I grew up, it was actually a lot of my teammates who people were weren't that much fun for me to hang out with. They were a bunch of knuckleheads, like meatheads, and all they wanted to do was drink and be stupid. So I didn't really hang out with them much outside of school and outside of like sports.
Gotcha. Wait, so
But yeah.
like for example, now you're known. Now we know you as like, for example, what the average person sees from you in Albion is one of the most toxic people the game has ever seen. You know?
Okay. So this is
Where did that
rooted
come
back
from?
to-
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Is it like
Yeah,
did you start trolling at a young age?
It's,
Banger.
Is it a
rooted in
troll?
Ultima Online. Yeah, it's rooted in Ultima Online. See, the early days of Ultima Online, you could get away with so much shit because the game was just as pure sandbox as you can imagine. Like you
Give
could
us an
straight up,
example. What was some toxic shit that was happening in Ultima Online?
you could force a person to trade you their house key, and you could steal their entire house and everything they own. Like think of somebody having access to your bank in a game, right? Or you could exploit and do it too. I didn't really get into the exploiting stuff like that, but I was big into we would kill people, rob their houses, steal things from people. Well, actually, here's a funny story. This is one of my favorite ones. I actually just told recently. So me and my buddy, and we were in high school. We had his grandma take us up to the local Circuit City. Does anybody remember Circuit City? Right. And Circuit City was basically the electronics store before
yeah.
Best Buy. We went up to Circuit City to go. I forget what we were going up there to get, but we went up there and we saw that Ultima Online was installed on the computers that were on display.
Okay.
You know what I mean? For sale. And so we went on there, and it turns out that the guys that were working there, these grown men that were working there, had their accounts logged in on those computers. So me and my buddy, what we did was we logged in on their accounts inside of Circuit City, and we stole all their crap.
Damn.
Because we could. Yeah.
Kind of fun.
Because we could, right? I mean, and the funny thing is, we came back later, and we actually sold their stuff back to them for real life money. Because they told us they were robbed, and we were like, "Oh, that sucks, man." Well, we're rich in the game. We could sell you some stuff. Yeah, give us $50 and we'll give you like 2 million gold or something. And then we started selling gold on eBay. We realized that we could actually make income playing video games. We did that for a little bit, except this was before PayPal, and so this was back in the day when you had to Western Union the money, like wire
The
it.
good old days.
Yeah.
The Western Union.
Yeah, Western Union wire the money, which means we had to have their full name and address, and ours too. And we would have people like wiring us hundreds of dollars. We'd go to the grocery store, would pick it up with cash, and then we'd go blow it all at the arcade.
Yeah,
it was fun times.
I'm watching. We're watching Uncle Ruckus. Not Uncle Ruckus, a militant video right now. Right when you got to the RMT part, the old RMT part that you were talking about, Fox Glovzine just popped into my screen, bro. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, he probably heard the frequency going off.
I just wanted to point that out.
But well, anyway, so the toxic thing came from the fact that I always got a lot of enjoyment out of having freedom in a game, and a lot of that also came from, when you're killing and fighting people and taking their stuff, even through, I guess you could say legal or, routes in a game, that pisses people off, right? And so those games become really toxic and everything, and people get pissed off. And I developed the mentality of the villain, and I really embrace that. That's really where this comes from, is that I love being the villain. For me, it's a role-playing game. I like to role-play as the bad guy. I'm okay with that. Right? Someone has to be the bad guy. And I think we can all relate here that when you're the bad guy and all eyes are on you, it just makes the content more, more consistent, and it makes it better, in my opinion. And that's really where all of that is rooted, right? A lot of people say, "Oh, Ruckus, he's always mad all the time. He beats his kids, because of how angry he is." It's like, no, man, I'm as happy as can be. I have an amazing life, a blessed life. I'm super happy. I do that in game because I want to be the villain, and I want you to hate me if you're my enemy. Now, if you wear the same cape as I do, I will die for you. You understand? You're on my team, then I will die for you. I have that soldier's mentality.
I mean, I know that
But
from
if,
experience, bro. I know that from experience, bro. Because I remember, like, I was on the other side of you for a long time. For such a long time. It was the same thing with Fred, actually. Like, with Fred, I think he shit talked me straight for maybe 2-3 years before we became friends, before we ended up finally on the same side, you know? It's kind of similar to how I met you. I think that, but it was for a shorter amount of time. I think for like a year. We were enemies for like a year, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, because like in Vastly Superior, like everybody, just even when we were allied with you guys in the Daddy Alliance in season 7, it was, the narrative was always that Blue Army was evil and horrible, and you know, Blue Army's nothing. You know, they're nothing but they zerg everybody down. They don't fight fair. They RMT. They do all this horrible stuff. You know, they're terrible people. And just when you reinforce a narrative over and over and over again, even it doesn't matter if it's true anymore.
As long as it's entertaining, yeah. As long as it's entertaining to
it
people.
Doesn't matter if it's true. And that was why, and so I talked a lot of shit about Blue Army because that was the narrative I was fed. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, hand holding's evil. I mean, fuck it, everybody hand holds. You know what I mean? Literally everyone in the game. There's literally no solo guilds. It doesn't exist. So people just need to get over that, you know? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Like, so, when I was going to quit the game because Death and Taxes didn't work out, it's a long story, but I basically left the guild, and I didn't think I was
stories we'd like to hear, you know.
Yeah, man, you're skipping ahead, bro.
Well, you've said it's a long story four times now. So I'm like, okay.
So let's go through it. Let's go through it. So you went through,
well,
so you played.
Hold
on. Before we even get to that, you played Ultima Online, right? You became a nerd there, and you started learning how toxic these games can be, right? So first of all, was a game like Ultima Online, which was before the whole cancel culture era and all that stuff. Nowadays, you say something, you get crucified, you know. But back in the day, so let's say 1990s, 2000s, when you were playing the same type of games, full loop PvP, where shit can get toxic, because it's not like League of Legends or some shit where if you lose, you just come right back, right? It's a game where you're losing all your stuff, all your progress, stuff like that. So, was it more toxic before? Or do you see the same type of games? Are they more toxic now?
Nah.
I think it's the same. I think the difference
is how
it's perceived.
Yo, baby.
Yo, look.
We were talking about people being the villain. He couldn't resist.
Yo, shout out to Siddick, man. He's here.
Yes.
He's joining us for our good friend Uncle Ruckus's
the penultimate
interview, but real quick, it's not gonna be a Cynic interview, boys. You know, don't get excited. We're gonna have a whole separate one for Cynic when the time comes.
I'm the Uncle Ruckus fanboy here.
Yeah. So sorry to interrupt you, Ruckus. Keep going, bro.
No, is
it more toxic today or back in the day?
It's the same. It's just the difference is it's how it's received, it's the reception, and it's also how it's canceled and blocked. And let me give you an example.
Okay.
Like in 1999, playing Ultima Online with me and a couple of friends.
Oh, good year.
And we shared accounts back then. And my one friend is on my other friend's account because he had like, you know, a spec'd up mage or whatever. And we're doing things out there, and he just like, I don't know what I did, but he types in the N-word like in all caps to me, and just blaring it and everything, and nothing ever happened to him. And it was in the middle of town, like you know, like 100 other players saw this, and he's just spamming the N-word.
Yeah. Right.
And everything. Everybody saw it. Nothing ever happened to him. Right. But EA buys the game. You know, they purchase. Electronic Arts purchases Origin Systems Interactive, which is what Richard Garriott's company that he used to make Ultima Online. And the very next year, my same buddy gets that account banned because he said the word grape, because the word rape is in it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's all about just the enforcement and the reception, and so but but you can be toxic without being overly racist or insensitive to others, certain things, but I think the behavior is the same. um I think that it's just how it's treated has changed. You know what
Yeah,
I
it's
mean?
just before you used to get stay in the game most of the time too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
now you got Reddit, you got people crying everywhere. It's
right,
just a completely different culture, to be
right, right,
honest.
right.
I would
And
say that it forces people to get more creative as well,
Some
right?
people
mhm.
used to take it out before too. Some people had their fucking wires cut. Oh, gamer word. Sorry, my bad.
It's good. It's all good. And so, but yeah, like it's just the way it is, and you have to, like you said, you got to get creative, find your way to navigate around it, so that you can just, it's a role playing game. So, but I found that Albion, of all the modern games right now, man, eh, Albion is you have more freedom to express yourself in this game than any other game, and I enjoy that. And yes, there are some negative things that come with that, but I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? And people who aren't okay with it, honestly, maybe this just isn't the room for them to hang out in. You know, that is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, since we're Cynic here, I want you to weigh in on this, Cynic. Like, for Eve Online, was Eve Online toxic as fuck or no?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Was it more toxic or less toxic than Albion?
Well, it wasn't toxic in a. It wasn't toxic in a sense that, well, there was that as well, of course, the N-word screaming and F-word screaming and everything, but there people got a bit more creative over there. Like
You ever
if
heard of the Summer of Rage, Mojo?
yeah, Summer of Rage. Like imagine if I think Rage Party got robbed recently.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. Imagine if the GM had a chance to get their stuff back, but he had to join a TeamSpeak and then sing certain songs.
Gotcha.
And then he could get in a bonus room and sing a bit more. Do a
Yeah.
bit of role playing and shit.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like,
Stuff was creative back then.
yeah, is it kind of like when 13 talks about RuneScape and he talks about, like, for example, if somebody wanted to join the guild, they had to write EOS on their hand, stuff like that, like do stupid little things like
Some
that.
communities like that.
That too.
So, okay. So, I mean, you start playing Albion, Ruckus. Yeah. How the fuck did you
Yep.
find out about Albion? Was it just like the next game because you were playing MMOs and you were just like, Albion's the next one?
No, actually. So the last MMO I played before Albion was Star Wars: The Old Republic,
Okay.
and it was basically the end game of that game was basically World of Warcraft, and I was immediately bored of that game. I quit playing it. I didn't have a lot of time. I was building a business. What happened was I got my business to the point where I was earning enough passive and residual income that I could essentially retire.
Hmm.
And I didn't like actually retire, but I essentially
Wait, would you
I
say
promoted
you
a
went
VP.
from homeless to Harvard?
No, that was Mark. That was right. I told you that I went from Waffle House to White House. That was what I did.
How did you, if you don't mind me asking, like, what kind of things were you doing to make money?
I was running a financial brokerage. We focused on personal finance. I basically help people get life insurance and start investing. And I set up people's retirement accounts and stuff like that. And there was other things that I did too, but like I was given the opportunity with a company to build a business on my own without costing me anything except for my time and effort. And I got licensed. I started building a team. I spent 3 years working 18 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. I would spend a lot of days where I would get up before my kids woke up. I would come home after they fell asleep. I would spend several days not seeing any of my family. It was I don't want to say rough, but I had a mentor. He's a very, very wealthy guy. He's one of the most successful people in the company's history, and he was my direct mentor. And he taught me how to become successful. He taught me how to read. Not like actually read, but he taught me how to be a reader. Like, yeah, I learned how to read when I was like,
What you mean, though?
kindergarten.
Like what?
No, what I mean is
tell me what you mean.
what I mean is, like, one of the most common things among really highly effective and successful people is that they're constantly learning and they're expanding their scope of understanding. And the best way to do that is to read at least 30 minutes a day.
Okay.
And so he taught me how to get up and just read something for 30 minutes a day. And it's funny because you talked about what kind of a student I was. I wasn't a good student, right? I was intelligent, but I was like a C average student my whole life. I didn't put a lot of effort into a lot of things. I did get a perfect on the math portion of the ACT, but like, I don't know, if you can't pass a multiple choice math test, there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? Like, the answer's there anyway. So, but I was never like a big reader. I didn't ever read books. You know what I mean? It was just boring to me. I have ADHD, so it was like, it's just not something I really cared to do very much. But he taught me how to become a regular reader. And what helped with that was also audiobooks. And I read 20 books, I think, in a 6-month span. And it helped develop my perspective on, how I approach life and how I approach developing my habits and sustaining my habits and making positive habits, making positive choices, how to interact with people. Obviously not in video games, because I choose to.
I was going to say, that guy must be one hell of a teacher to go from, like oppressive and toxic to, where you're at now.
Yeah, like I said, I want to be the villain. So everything that I do to be successful and to earn people's favor in my real life, in order to be a villain, I basically just do the opposite in the video game.
Really?
For the most part, yeah. Unless you're my teammate, you know what I mean. So if
Of course,
you're in my guild,
team is sacred.
Absolutely. If you are in my guild or if you are one of my allies, then I will treat you like a brother and I will die for you. But if you are my enemy, I'm going to make sure that I am the worst enemy that you have ever had. And I'm going to make sure that you think about me when you go to sleep.
That's sure.
I know there's definitely people out there that go to sleep thinking about Ruckus and Sin. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Where'd you get those extremes from, though? Because where'd you get like so fiery, so feisty with the like if you're on my side and you're so loyal, where'd you get that from? And
it's because that's what I want.
And when I'm against you and you're so against me, where'd you get that from too?
It's because that's what I want out of.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I treat people the same way that I want out of them. I'm going to be extremely loyal to you. I will die for you because that's what I want you to do for me if you're my teammate.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I was extremely successful in college football. Wrestling's a different thing because it's a solo sport. My teammates can't help me when I'm on the mat. You know what I mean?
Yes,
but I trained in a way to get the results that I wanted. But in football and stuff like that.
Thank you so much, Machinsky. I love you, brother.
I wanted my teammates
so
to
much,
die
brother.
for me, so that's the way I acted to them. Now, when it comes to my enemy or my opponent, right? The perspective I have is this: is if you're not giving me your best, you're insulting me as my opponent. Like, how dare you not try your best against me? Because now I don't know if I'm tested. You understand? Like, if you're that much better than me, beat the crap out of me. Because that'll piss me off. I'm going to take my frustration. I'm going to use that to turn it into motivation. That motivation is going to allow me to get better. How can I get better if you're not trying as my opponent?
Bro, that's some deep ass shit, bro. I'm just trying to play a video game.
That's just
that's where it is. It's my competitive nature. And so if you hate me, if you're my opponent,
where did you get that?
Flacco,
I think it was a mental process. I think it was a mental process I used, like, in wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I went and wrestled somebody, I wanted them to try. And if I thought they weren't trying, I'd try to hurt them. Like, how dare you? Like, not legit, like, injure, but like, I'd make them pay. You know what I mean?
You hurt their feelings.
Yeah. So that's part of where it comes from. So if I'm the villain, if I'm on the number one, SBI's most wanted list, right?
Sure.
So to speak, then people are going to come after me and they're going to want to fight me and they're going to want to give everything they have to destroy me. And then when I win, I know that I beat my opponent at their best. Therefore, it feels even better to win that way.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ruckus. I appreciate that.
Exactly. And I think we experienced that in BA. I think PoE is obviously, how many coalitions have been formed against you, Syndic?
We understand each other without even needing more than a sentence.
Exactly. And so how can I expect the best out of myself if I'm not getting the best out of others? And so that's just kind of the mindset that I have in regards to that. And so, like I said, a lot of people in this game they mistaken what I do and how. Hold on, what is that? Okay, bring it back. Sorry, that's my daughter.
Yo, take your time, bro. What the fuck?
What you mean? Can you tell this is very important? She needs to come back in like 10 minutes.
No. I don't. She's borrowing. I don't know why she wants to borrow my phone, but whatever. Anyway, she's going to be developing her own social media soon, but I have to be careful with that, obviously, right?
Yeah,
like
man.
because
of course.
you know what I mean. The kind of people.
Yeah,
that exist
we're
in the
guys,
world,
bro. We
know?
get it.
Yeah, we know what's out there.
You know,
I mean,
know
it's not
what's
just
out
you
there,
guys, but there's you have your Daddy Varians and your Sorabs of the world, so I gotta protect my daughter. Okay, so
Of course, dude. Of course.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, we know what's out there.
you just gotta teach her the rule of 3 days.
But,
All right.
but a lot of people,
3
Yeah, a
days,
lot of-
no kisses.
oh God, oh, I'm gonna make that a poster and put it on her wall. She'll never know what it means. Daddy
Oh,
Variant.
man.
Maybe she
Daddy
has an apartment, dude, and some cables.
Yep. Oh my
Oh,
God.
God.
Daddy Varian was one of my first experiences in Albion. I'll get to that in a second. But a lot of people mistaken the passionate way I go about things as anger and stuff like that. And like I said, it's a video game, and I'm not angry. I'm role playing here. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I go too far. I'll admit that.
Well, we all do sometimes.
I go real far sometimes, especially in PMs.
Oh,
But yeah, but
Okay.
what it is for me is I just want people to. If you're my enemy, I want you to hate me, and I'm okay with that, right? You know what I mean? I got title people in my PMs every single time they see me in game, telling me about how horrible my kid's life must be because I beat them and all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yo,
Like,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Listen.
Did you save those?
So that you start at Albion, right? What was like the first guild? How did you get to Death and Taxes?
okay,
Because it was Death and
so
Taxes first, then it was Vastly Superior, right?
no, vastly superior
Okay.
first.
Okay, so
it
how'd you
starts
start,
off
and then
where
how'd you get to Vastly Superior?
yep, I basically kind of retire in life. Kind of. I get to a point where I'm comfortable. My income was going to grow. I was going to eventually shift into building a real estate business, but I was comfortable, and so I didn't have to work as much. I had a lot more time on my hands. I decided to kind of just stay at home most of the time. I was going to play a game. First thing I do is I pull up Jonah Vale's stream because Jonah's the guy I know, and I'm like, "What's Jonah?"
Wait, so one of
playing?
your first experiences in Albion Online was the Daddy Variant situation?
Oh yeah, I started off in Bunch of Rats with his guild as a brand new noob, and the only thing he taught me how to do was to rat 2v2 Hellgates with a nature staff. Like, he wasn't really teaching me the game, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But I knew that the game was like Ultima Online, and that's what brought me to it. And actually, one of the first dev talks I ever saw, Robin Hankes has the Ultima Online Britannia cloth map on his wall,
I
right?
think I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I saw that, I was like, this is the game I'm playing. All right, she brought it back. Thank you, babe. That was one of the first things I ever saw, you know?
Oh, we lost him again. Did we lose him again?
No. I'm just I'm on push to talk, so I had to mute something. But I knew I had to play this game. I'm in Bunch of Rats. I'm playing the game with Jonah Vale. We're like running around the red zone doing stupid shit.
Yo, you're mad popular, bro. I'll tell you that much. Holy shit, bro.
It's okay. And then he does his reaction to the Daddy Varian video. You remember that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when he was doing that live in Discord, I was in the Discord channel with him, and my jaw dropped with the Daddy Varian video. Like, I was just like, I couldn't believe that people like that existed, right? Yeah, I mean, like, just the audacity of this guy. I mean, and the story he was telling about
Can you
Squish.
give us a quick breakdown, real quick, for anybody that never seen that shit before? We'll do like a reaction video, with me, Seed, Flacco, anybody in here that we'll do a full reaction video to that, the Jonaville situation. But can you give a quick breakdown, like as simply as you can put it, what that whole situation was.
Some guy who role played for I guess years in Albion that he was a black man from Zimbabwe. Okay.
He had the accent and everything. Yeah.
And was dating a girl who was also dating Sorab at the time, and there was this whole love triangle. And a few others. There was this whole love triangle, and there may have been some catfishing involved and stuff. I don't know. And he comes out and makes this video because I guess the relationship blew up and he was quitting Albion, so he wanted to do this coming out video. And it turns out he's a white man living in Israel, not a black man. Okay. And apparently he was military. He was trained in special military ops. He was trained as an actor and all this stuff. And he prepared a real life. He prepared for this girl that he was dating, Squish, to come live with him. I mean, the one with the Ethernet cord just fucking eats me up every time. Like, this one's for Squish. And the dragon ring and the stars on his comforter that he got from IKEA. I don't know what the hell was going on with that. Right? Like, he made this video where he basically was nothing what he was portraying for years. He basically got either catfished or led on by Squish, and he was planning a real life with her, and she left him out to dry. And man, it was just so creepy and weird and entertaining. It was hard to know if it was real or not. And I was just like, these kind of people play Albion? And Jonah's like, yes. And I'm like, I'm never leaving this game. Like, no way. I want to be around this. But I was just like, this game is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness. And so, yeah. And so I started playing in Bunch of Rats. WoW Classic came out, and Jonah decided he was going to play World of Warcraft for the first time ever because he had never played it before. And so him and Dr. Feelgood and everybody in that guild, they all just quit. They quit. And so the first thing I did was like, I want to keep playing Albion. So I went on to Twitch, and the first Twitch streamer I see is Asterial, okay, the GM of Vastly Superior. And I'm just like, hey, what guild are you? What guild do you lead? And he said so, and I applied, and eventually I got the fame requirements to get in, and I joined Vastly Superior literally just in time for the beginning of season 7, right? And so I went from a red zone Hellgate rat to specking up Holy so I could play as a healer in a Zerg for the Daddy Alliance, right? And I got the whole ZVZ experience during season 7, and I just fell in love with it. I was just like, this, like the massive warfare, the castle fights, like what we're watching right now on the video, right? Mm-hmm. Which are my favorite, and I miss castle fights more than anything. It's just there's no other experience like it, you know, in gaming. You can't get this anywhere else because, like, I mean, you can get castle sieges, but where can you get castle sieges where the stakes are high, right? Where you're losing your equipment. And winning or losing a battle might change the political landscape if you lose certain terries and stuff like that.
Sound like an Albion ad right now.
But I mean, it is. I love this game, you know, and
it's fun for sure.
And then after Vastly Superior, because Asterial had some real life stuff, he wanted to go fix and everything. And, I supported him in that, but Vastly Superior kind of fell apart around when Queen came out, a little after Queen came out. I had nowhere to go. I had a small group of friends there in Vastly Superior, and we went all over to Tea Party. And that was where I learned that Criers is not as good a shot caller as Asterial is. That's one thing I'll say.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
We booked that man in a week. Shot calling BA, bro.
Oh, I know Criers. We played Yosene. You remember in season 13 when Angel wasn't here, he would send Criers in?
Yep, I remember that dumpster fire.
I remember Angelique. I respect and like Angelique over there.
Dumpster fire.
I really like. But we got we left Tea Party because my buddy got caught. Oh, you have to hear this. So my buddy is a healer, but he's combat looting because he's also very frugal. Anyway, he's combat looting as a healer in the back. Criers puts the microphone in his mouth. right? And he's like, "Can we see if you don't stop ratting in Combat League and I'll kick your ass right now?" Like he just goes off on him. Like the mic is like back almost in
Wait,
the back of his
Asterio
throat.
goes off?
No. Criers.
Oh, okay.
This was in Tea
My
Party.
bad.
Anyway, and so they kicked all of us because we were a group of friends. It was hysterical, but we had nowhere to go, and me and my friends were like, let's just make a guild, right? And I didn't want to make a guild because I didn't want to get burnt out. I saw it happen to Asterio, and I know how much work goes into it.
Like 4 times, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But it's just I saw what it did, and I didn't want to do it, but they talked me into being the GM, and I made the guild, and I made it Death and Taxes because that was my favorite Magic the Gathering deck that I played for years. It was a vintage or a legacy deck called Death and Taxes was the name of the deck. So I liked the name. Hey, I'm a nerd. I don't care, you know.
But the name sounds cool. The name sounds cool.
Right. And we started doing that. And the big thing was Avalonians were kind of new back then, Avalonian Dungeons. And Felipe Calzone wanted to do a crap ton of them. So he made the Avalonian Discord where we started inviting people from other guilds to do them with us. And it became a thing, it became an income source because we actually legit started to charge people to join our AVAs, so that we could run them through them because we developed a strategy that was successful and stuff like that. And we became known as an AVA guild, even though I didn't want to PvE as much. I wanted to gank in ZVZ. That's what I wanted to do. And eventually we got to that. I think early season, like opening reset day season 9, we massed like 105 people for that reset. We went and fought some Portuguese guild. What were they called? Starting with an M. I can't remember. And that was right when Elevate came out.
They died too fast, you know.
The Portuguese guilds?
Oh yeah.
How big did your Avalonian Discord get? Like, how many members were on there?
We had 2,000 members.
Is it the one that's still going on right now?
It's not, but the people who lead that one, we either helped lead the one with us or we trained them. A lot of those shot callers or whatever, a lot of those raid leaders, we trained them.
I didn't know people did Avalonians outside of Arch, to be honest.
Dude, like when we would do an Avalonian, it would be like 7 people from the Valiant Alliance. Like, you know, you'd have some Dutch Squad people, some Zorn people, and then we would have some Final Order people in there with some Death and Taxes people. And so because we were mixing in people in Black Zone content from all these different guilds, we would come up with these kind of weird rules that we honestly couldn't really enforce. But they were rules like, if your guild ganks one of our raids, like, we're going to ban your guild from the Ava Raid Discord, kind of a thing. So then you know what I mean? And it would be interesting because what was Keystain's guild? Talon? Talion ganked us once, and I banned Talion, and that pissed off a lot of them. So
shout out to Keystain. Anyway, I see him in the chat. Shout out to Keystain.
Keystain's my boy, though. Keystain's my dude, man. You messed up. No, Keystain, you didn't mess up. I messed up by coming up with a stupid rule. You know what I mean? Dude, no, me messing up the alliance with Valen was my fault. That's one thing I learned about a GM, by the way, is I'm horrible at diplomacy because of my mindset of, if you're my enemy, then screw you. You know what I mean? Like, I was not very good at working diplomacy because my strategy was just, you know, F everybody who's not my teammate.
Was Death and Taxes part of any coalition or anything like that?
Not officially, but this was what began my kind of my disdain for Momono. Actually,
why specifically? Why specifically Momono?
Because we wanted content, and in the season 9 war against PoE, Momono wanted help, right? And a lot of Elevate people were in
season 9. You're talking about when Elevate led the coalition against Syndic and
against Syndic, yes.
Gotcha.
And so a lot of Elevate people were in the Ava Discord, and a lot of them would always tell us, you should come help us fight PoE. And at the time, I was still, you know, anti-hand-holding, you know, evil empire. I was still in that mindset. So we made a deal with Momono to get a hideout placed, and I think it was like Iceburn Tundra or something like that,
I think I
which they held. he let us place a hideout there. In exchange, we would go down during 18 UTC and we would gank PoE regears. And we made a crap ton of money doing that, like Darkbow Snag, all that stuff down in there. Thunder Rock, what is it, Ascent or whatever.
Mhm.
And so, but sorry, sorry, hold on. Anyway, but what ended up happening was eventually, you know, we were a ganking guild outside of all of that too. And so we ganked a lot of, especially Rack and Sancta people.
Yeah.
You know,
Coalition, people in
and
your coalition.
they were in the coalition. So we weren't really in the coalition. We weren't fighting ZVZ. We were just ganking regears. You know what I mean? That was the deal. And you know how good Momono was at controlling his guildmates, right?
Yeah.
Which is not at all, right? I mean, but a guild like that, you got so many mavericks and so many individuals that they're going to do whatever they want to do, regardless of who says what, right?
Mhm.
It's amazing they're still a guild right now because
guild.
of that, right? But what ended up happening was because of his relationship to Frank Coconut and to Pliz and Frank Coconut convinced either Momono himself or one of his officers to launch on our hideout, right? And when we approached a Momono about it, we're like, no, you made a deal with us. We get this hideout by doing the ganking. That's the end of the story, right? But Momono just backtracked. I don't know who's doing it. That was the first thing he said. Like, come on, dude. You know which one of your officers is launching on a hideout. Like, I'm pretty sure it's in guild logs, right? You can probably see it.
Yeah, you can see the money. You can see when the money is spent and who
Exactly.
used it on.
And who used it. Yeah, he never told us who it was. They launched 3 times. We defended it 2 times, right? And even after the 3rd time, Momono was still like, I don't know who's launching. I don't know why they're doing it. And they were doing it because Pliz and Frank Coconut were telling them, you need to launch on these guys. They're ganking.
But that's a classic for us. That's a classic excuse, bro. If you're like a leader of a guild, that's a classic excuse, bro. You know?
Exactly.
We love that shit.
And
bro.
so ever since then, and what do? When I see bullshit, when I smell bullshit, I hunt it down, I stuff it up, and I feed it right back down the mouth that spit it out, right?
Gotcha.
And I started to do that to Momono, and he didn't appreciate it, right? I called him a liar and all the other stuff. And so ever since then, like, I lost all respect that I would have had for him and Elevate, and I hated all of them. And so we turned on them. We ganked Bertle Q for like 15 mil once when he was transporting with Elevate, and he was so mad. So they ended up forming a big coalition and coming and smacking our hideout. And ever since then, I was just like, screw this. I was like, screw these Black Zone people. And then the roads came out, right? And the roads of Avalon came out, and we were like, well, Black Zone politics are stupid, right? We didn't want to deal with it anymore. We're like, we're going to be a roads guild, right? Yeah, that lasted about a week or 2.
Why?
Before just the roads is dead. It's dead content.
Yeah,
it's
I
not.
know,
It's so dead. It's not consistent at all. Like, because one day we would log in our hideout in the road, and we would have 1 2-man portal that leads to like nowhere. So we're literally stuck in this zone doing nothing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It was just it was stupid. And so
made the system super dumb.
Yeah, and we had a change, not a change in leadership, but we were rotating the GM position because I didn't want to get burnt out leading the guild. But every time I rotated the GM position to someone else, like Felipe Calzone or whatever, I kept running the guild because none of them knew what the hell they were doing. And the only thing that changed was just that I wasn't the GM anymore. And eventually what happened was it started to create a rift between me and some of the other leaders of the guild. We didn't agree on the direction to take the guild. I wanted to get back to the Black Zone. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to stay in the roads and do Avalonians all day, right? And
so the little guild small content stuff didn't work out.
No, doing the whole roads small scale content.
You got bored.
Yeah, it's just boring. I knew that.
It's not really small scale either. It's just like the mechanics are so bad. There's no small scale.
Right.
You just transport. That's it.
Yeah. And so it just wasn't my thing. I didn't want to do it anymore.
Is that when you
ended up? Yeah, it was right before it. So basically, I ended up leaving Death and Taxes. Sorry, 1 second.
We're gonna wait for Ruckus. Okay, he's back.
Yeah, it's okay. I left Death and Taxes. Tried to do something with a friend of mine. That didn't really work out. I was bored. And then my buddy Astro and AFK Slut and somebody else joined Blue Army because Astro was friends with Sarge, right? Because they were in Savage together.
Right.
And they're like, come over to Blue Army to me. And I'm like, dude, there's no way. You have, I told him, I was like, you have any idea how much crap on Reddit I've talked about Blue Army?
Oh my god,
it was,
bro. I would literally see you on every single Reddit post that I would open that somebody would link in NBA. Let's say Nah put a video or somebody put a video and we would do our Reddit CTAs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
There was George.
there would be George 51 right there, bro. George 51 right there. How much hatred did you have built up for us?
So it's not hatred, right? It wasn't hatred. Hold on, dude. They're wrestling in the background, and he is just peeking off right now. Hey, buddy. Hey, go upstairs. Go upstairs.
If only Sitdown was so compliant.
Bro, how about I tell you, we literally had a conversation. Me and Flacco had a conversation with Sitdown right before this stream.
Right, I'm back.
And these dudes, I'm gonna ask Ruckus. I gotta ask you about this right after. But go ahead, finish your story about what we were talking about, and then I gotta ask you some shit, bro.
Yeah. So, but I had nothing else to do, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll join Blue Army." Right. And I joined Blue Army, and as soon as I did, I was like, I'm gonna keep my head down. I don't want people to talk crap about me. Oh my god. All right. Anyway, and yeah, I don't know. I joined Blue Army, and I kept my head down at first for a little bit, and then I had my first experience with Fred
in NBA. And what did he say?
Yeah,
he knew it was you.
No, it wasn't direct. What it was like Jonko was one of the first people to kind of like welcome me to BA, right? And so
did Jonko know it was you?
No. Well, I mean, Jonko knew who I was, but it wasn't like that. It was just Jonko was like some of the first CTAs I went to, so he was like the guy I knew.
Gotcha.
Right, and outside of a couple other people, but we go to a CTA, and on the way back from a CTA, Fred starts going off on Jonko. Just telling him he's a trash caller. You know how it goes, right? You're a trash caller, and just like you're horrible. And I've never heard guildmates talk to each other like this, right? Like you know what I mean? And it was almost culture shock for me, and it reminded me like of the kind of people that are in the game. And at first I was just like, who the heck is this Fred guy? He is just toxic as hell. Like he's worse than me. Like, oh my God. Like, and at first I was like put off by it, but after a while I was just like, this Fred guy he's got it going on, man. He fully embraces who he is. And I just came to kind of respect it. Like, I was like, man, holy crap. Like, but then, and then being in BA was just, it was everything I wanted Vastly Superior to be, where we're just running people over and we're just fighting and we died like men, because I did a lot of the NA stuff with Sarge and I learned, you fight, you win, or you die like men. Like that was just the way it was. And I really loved it. And then I really loved how much people hated Blue Army. Oh my God. Like when I hated Blue Army, I didn't realize how much people hated Blue Army until I was in it.
Yeah.
And then people were like, they really hate Blue Army. I still have the screenshot of Arcapeach saying he wants all Blue Army members must die. Where is it? I need to find it.
I know which one you're talking about. I know.
Right, when June disbanded, I was spamming in the June Discord, and he went off. But people hated BA, and I loved that because they wanted us to lose. And it just goes back to that mentality, man. And it worked out great, man. We won a season. We went out on top. Nobody can ever take it from us. So it was cool, man. It was cool. I made a lot of friends. Met Sarge. Now Sarge trusts me enough to help him run Militant, and we're having a good time there. Just kind of doing similar things, except we're also teaching people how to ZVZ who may not have had that much experience doing it anymore. But it's great. We're having fun, man. It's good stuff.
I know for me, I can't do the sensitive shit, bro. Like with that amount of running that we do in Albion, especially after Queen, because like before the Queen update came out, you know how it is. Like you could go to a portal and select the location and get content right there, right? Like when you used to ZVZ in season 7,
Mm-hmm.
you used to use the portal. You used to leave Carleon, use the portal, and
you're there. Yeah,
3-4 maps, you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Like max, it was like 6 maps maximum.
Yep.
And after Queen, it's like 6 maps is what we consider a short run now.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
What we consider a long run now is like 30 maps. You can run across the world, and people still do it. People will run across the whole map on the Swift Claws. That's why people call it, huh?
I do it every day still.
Yeah, it's like it became normal in Albion because of how Queen is and stuff like that. So, like in the time that you're running around on the Swift Claws, going to CTAs, coming back from CTAs, bro, a lot of guilds, you know what they do? They put everything on mute. They put everybody on mute, and it just becomes like a whole quiet situation. The only person that's talking is the caller throughout the whole CTA.
Yeah, that's just bad.
Yeah, I can't do that shit, bro. Like, why the fuck would you want to log into a game for it to be fully quiet when you're in a channel with like 100 people or whatever? Nobody's talking except for the caller, and most of the time the caller is like a weirdo, like he's not even like cracking jokes or entertaining the Zerg, whatever. So I know
during the fight, quiet, sure, but like outside the fight,
exactly.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so I can't do that shit, bro. So I know for me, the only way I could play Albion for so long was having a bunch of people who are like Fred, for example, or Fox, or somebody who they're not shy at all. Throughout the CTA, they bring entertainment. They're funny guys, good friends, and that's for me the only way I got through that shit, bro.
I agree. Yeah, got to have some Discord content too, right?
Yeah, so I guess for you it was kind of the same because for a lot of people they can't stand Fred, and I don't blame them, to be honest. It's different tastes for different people. But for someone who's not sensitive like me or you, it's like for me it's just amazing. Like you only find those type of people on Albion Online. You don't walk down the street and find a King Fred or an Emiya Shiloh.
No, you don't, and you don't find them in any. You don't find them in World of Warcraft.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
There are some weird people in World of Warcraft, to be fair.
Now you may find them in New World, but then
you ain't never been on Goldshire, bro? You ain't never been in Goldshire?
Where?
That's a choice, huh?
Where's he?
Got a lot of weird people in Goldshire.
Oh, there's a lot of weird people there.
Wait, Goldshire?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
That's the that's the e-dating underground fast travel prostitution ring.
Oh my god.
It's pretty much on every server, from what I remember.
Yeah, it's like on almost every server. Yeah, pretty much. That's where you get to pay the girls to e-date you or in game for a little while.
Yeah, so like you're doing a little porn and you whisper back and forth.
Yo, let's talk about Militant.
Talk to a Discord?
Let's talk about Militant, Ruckus.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Militant. So you guys had a little bit of drama. You had drama with you guys start Militant. You guys start out as like a solo guild. After BA disbands, you end up going with Sarge. And in Militant, you guys have a bit of drama with some people. I'm gonna throw some names at you, okay? So you guys had drama with. I remember looking at Discord, and at this point, I stopped playing the game, whatever. So Del Negro, you had some beef with Del Negro. Not you personally, but as a guild, I remember you guys were going back and forth when he had. I think he had Rang at the time. And then you guys are currently in beef with Dominant. So can you take us through those Albion beefs that you guys went through as Militant? Because now I know most of the details about you relating to BA, but with Militant, I was never there. I don't know what the fuck is happening. So for me, as a spectator, what can you tell me about those beefs? Take us through it.
Well, so when Del Negro brought back Reign, 7.0 or something, whatever, they would roam around as like, a supposed solo guild and stuff like that. And we were playing as a solo guild. But one thing is, like, we were never coming out and saying, hey, we're strictly a solo guild. You know what I mean? Like, Militant, from the very beginning, Sarge's approach was always, we're going to play solo. That's how we make ourselves stronger. You know what I mean? We're not going to go and leech off of an alliance. And when we become strong, we didn't want to join an alliance so people could leech off of us, right?
Right.
So, but we always admitted if it makes sense to work with somebody in some capacity, that we'll do it. We weren't against it, right? The beef with Del Negro was just that.
Well,
it's related to BA. It really is. It's related from back in BA because Del Negro, in my opinion, he's a snake in the game. Okay, he's a snake. He backstabbed you and Perel, right? And I think that was like season 11 or 12, whatever. And all the things he said he was going to do with Rang or whatever, or with June, didn't end up happening. And so I just saw him as kind of like a phony guy, a phony person, which is disappointing because I liked him when he was in BA with us.
Yeah, I liked him.
Right. I liked him, and I thought he was fun to play with, and he probably still is. I mean, obviously he has a following, right? He's fun to play with and all this stuff. And so I was disappointed to see that he would, decide to like turn his back on people he swore that he would never turn his back on. And so once you do that, once you turn your back on me, it's like, I'm going to write you off until you have to redeem yourself. And Del always denied everything. And so that just always came off as fake and phony to me. So every time I ever saw him in the game, all I wanted to do was crush him, Sarge, and so we fought them a little bit. But it was just beef fights. It was never over objectives or anything. It was never really a war. Our main focus was we wanted to establish ourselves in Fort Sterling NA zones, which at the time were held mainly by Surf. And Surf had two or three renter alliances. Milo was one of them. And so we started focusing our efforts on fighting them. And that was where our beef from kind of dominance is rooted, right? Because, we wanted to take over the zones and the area and live in there, which we do now. Right. And so in order to do that, we had to fight off Surf, and Surf would bring all of Mila, which was, a 500-man alliance plus Surf 2, plus, M3R or whoever the heck else Dominic could convince that to come and help him, even though we are the supposed handholders. Like
they always do that shit, bro.
Yeah. See, that's my thing is that when you make up lies and all this propaganda to support the fact that you're not willing or man enough to fight on your own, you're going to put a target on your head for me. You know what I mean? And when you got a target on your head for me, man, you're my enemy, and I'm going to hyper focus until I beat you, no matter what it costs. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now with Surf. We started this war with Surf because we wanted to have meaningful content. And the one thing that Dominic does? He doesn't provide meaningful content. He thinks it's about the territories. So he, instead of fighting, he hides his Zerg in dungeons and rats territories. That's all he does. And he will not fight you unless he has numbers or defensive. He just will not fight. He will run.
So you guys don't fight them any other time besides CTAs then?
Dude, he wants to set up friendly fights. And I'm glad that we're getting to this topic because this is something I want to talk about with Albion.
Sure.
I understand setting up a friendly fight when it's the only content you have. Like we did this in BA all the time where we would run over our enemies, maybe get a fight, maybe not. And then on the way back, it's like, well, none of us got good content. So we just call up Africa and Last Warning and be like, let's go at it. You know what I mean? Pick a spot. You know what I mean?
Right.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. But there's too many people in this game, namely Dominant, Elevate, I think is like this. Escalation is like this. Mighty Frogs is like this. These people where
Thank you so much, Rusty. I appreciate
all they
you,
want to
brother.
do is set up fights. They don't want to have true, organic, meaningful content. They want to set up fights because then you can control the you can control the aspects of it and it make it quote unquote more fair, right? Like, to me, that's stupid. It's so stupid where you have a game that has features literally designed to make organic content fun. You intentionally avoid it because you're afraid of it not being fair. Militant, I'll tell you what, you can go look at all the kill boards. We've gotten our butts whooped tons of times, outnumbered 2-1. We don't care. We're just going to fight. That's what we're going to do. We're going to fight because that's what's fun. You know what I mean?
Well, see, if somebody asks me to take a fight, I'm never going to turn it down either, though. Like, I want content at the same time.
Well, we're not turning down fights.
Yeah, but you said that you don't like people who do like friendly fights or set up fights. Like, I have people message me all the time, "Hey, you want to fight?" Like, I prefer that, but at the same time we have CTAs, right? So we have both types of content. I don't.
No, I agree with you. My point is this: if I launch on your territory, that is my invitation to fight. That's the invitation, right? I don't care how many you bring because I launched. Do you follow me? So when we launch, that's the invitation to fight. I don't care how many you bring, do it. Because if you bring more, then maybe I'll just N+1 it next time. I don't care. But if you're going to not fight the territory and then afterwards ask me to set up a friendly fight, no, that's not what this is about. The game's about war, right? There needs to be stakes involved. Like, I'm not saying friendly fights are stupid. I'm saying friendly fights are stupid if that's the only thing you're willing to do. Fight the wars in this game. That's the most fun that you can have. There's got to be a stake in the game. You have to be able to risk something, not just the gear on your back. You know what I mean? And I think SBI made a mistake with the headquarters because now all you have to do is just turtle. Look at, like, right, Syndic?
Yeah.
Right? All you have to do is just turtle. You don't lose anything. All you just keep shoving the cores into that HQ. You'll never lose. You may lose some territories, but eventually you'll get them back because people will get bored. And I think it's
fair, Ruckus. I had probably the most fun early on in this current anti-PoE war where they dropped a bunch of hideouts in my zone and they tried to deny cores. That was arguably the most fun I've had in this whole war.
Right. Non-stop organic content, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. So this update was great because they made so much organic content with the cores and the crystals, right? I know the GVGers hate this update because now they're not needed anymore.
It's so true. Five guys can't control the game anymore.
They can't control the game. And I'm going to argue that the GVGers shouldn't control the game, but they should have a role to play.
Yeah,
they should have a role to play.
100%.
Right?
I think that they should overlap the two systems and have like enhanced territories that could be fought for GVGs.
100%. I've always agreed with that. I think that some territories should be GVG, some should be ZVZ, some should be sieges, right?
That would be
something like that would be really cool. But anyway, and so now the beef has gotten to the point with Surf, between Surf and Militant, where like Dominant has proven that he's not in it for the content. He's in it to not lose. And all he has to do is turtle. And all he has to do is hide people in a dungeon and try to rat territories for CTAs, wasting our time. Right? Meanwhile, by the way, he's telling his people that he's doing that because we're the ones hand-holding. When if he brought everybody that was with him on his side, including the Mighty Frogs Alliance, they'd outnumber us 3-1. And now that Different Cloth has joined the Oops Alliance with the Last Home, we're literally solo again. He still won't fight us.
Well, he has to paint that picture as well. That's what a leader has to do in situations like that. So it's not like left field, but I totally understand what you're saying.
You out,
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well,
just turtle up.
To play devil's advocate, like let's say because Dom has been playing consistently for like I don't know, since season 9, I guess. I don't know. That's where I know him from.
He was in phrasing back in like season 6 and 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he led phrasing.
So he's been playing for a while, but leading a guild title was a thing since season 9, right? Not before, I think.
Yeah,
so That's like how many years? That's a couple years. So what if the dude is just like tired, you know? What if he's like burnt out? Because I can understand. I see a lot of people when they burn out, they just want to chill. You know what I mean? Especially if you got an HQ, that's even more reason to chill now. You know, what if that's what it is? He just wants to lay back and just chill. Like,
yeah, I understand that.
I mean, also if you think about it, the game changed in the sense that it's no longer one time per day you show up with X number of people and just beat the hideout down.
Yeah.
And if they can stop you, great for them. If they can't, great for you. Now you're gonna siege them like 24 hours a day.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then why does he have to tell his people that the reason he's not letting them get content is because we are hand-holding and we are this, trying to 3v1 them, and it's not fair. And we're, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't have to lie to his people and make up all this bullcrap.
Oh yeah, of course.
Why not? That's his
job,
position as a leader, right? Yeah, hey, sometimes you got to spin those narratives. Trust me, I've been on the losing side a lot. I mean,
that group of people has been doing that since season 8,
right?
Season 9.
And so because of that, we as militant, because we want the content so bad, like I said, we're willing to fight outnumbered. We don't care. We'll do it. And because of that, we'll end up going and fighting outnumbered against the last home, or getting 2v1 like we did against Tidal and 3OG Alliance the other day, and then they'll blast the kill board and be like, ha ha ha, militant lost again. You guys never win. It's like, I don't know. I can't get the concept of telling your guild members that the reason you're justifying doing what you're doing is because you're not losing, when you're just not being man enough to fight a real fight. It doesn't, like, I don't know. It doesn't. All it does is it motivates us more to want to crush Tidal. Right?
Is that your main enemy?
So, yeah, right now, 100%. 100%. And I would have absolutely no qualms against squatting them down, but we're not. We could easily just ally up with the last home.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would. Last home? I don't think they would.
Yeah, I mean, like, not in alliance. I don't want the debuff, but you know what I mean? But we're not going to. We're going to make it to where we can get as much content as possible without trying to be snakes and ratting terries and making up bullshit excuses. But that's the way Dom wants to play the game, because it's his last season. Supposedly he's finally getting a real job. I guess he got promoted at the call center. I don't know.
You're so stupid.
I also heard that.
You guys are stupid.
Shout out to Dom for having a hustle, an actual job.
Yeah, good job.
Yo, Albion's the only place where people make fun of somebody for having a job, bro. That's the only place.
No, I'm happy for him. He actually got a job. Good job.
True story. Yeah. So that's where we're at right now, and we're just going to keep pushing. And once Surf is out of the way, we'll just pick a new target, and we'll, how Sarge is. He'll start a war just by looking at him the wrong way.
Oh man, Sarge is the best at that shit, bro. He's like a pit bull. You know how many times I had to hold him back? I'm like, yo, bro, this is not the right time, man. Give it a few weeks. This is not the right time, bro. But he understands. He understands, especially now that he's a gym. I know Sarge always wanted to create his own guild, because he always had his own little squad. So I think now me and him we see eye to eye even more, just because he has that leadership experience now. So I like him even more now. Like, we're closer now. Super loyal motherfucker too. So like with you, him, you guys have definitely a loyal bunch. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so yeah, Sarge can pull some stuff out of the hat too. He surprises me still. Like, it's because Sarge kind of he does his fair share of trash talk. Not quite like me, but he does his fair share. And
he's a man.
he's able to play the diplomacy ring when he needs, and he's actually pretty adept at it. And as a matter of fact, we'd probably be in a much better position diplomatically if it wasn't for me being in the guild, because I think almost every guild we've talked to has told him that they would work with us if it wasn't for me being in the guild.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, Momono said he would shot call for us if I wasn't in the guild. Yeah, a lot of ultimatums to get me out of the guild. I don't know. That's interesting, but it is what it is.
So let me. I gotta cover it. Lord Box, Mr. Lord Box.
Yes. I'm so happy you brought this up.
He stole some shit from y'all guild. What happened?
So Lord Box, him and a bunch of guys named Lord something, right? Like there's Lord Moon.
Yeah, they have a whole
Lord
clique
Box,
from Egypt. They're
they have
Egyptian.
a clique, and yeah, they're all real life friends of King Red and stuff like that. And I played with them in BA, and we had a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Yeah,
cool
we had an interesting time. They're specialists at ratting outposts. That's kind of their main content. But
True.
we brought over a couple of them in the militant and everything. And Lord Box, who had contributed to the guild quite a bit, had stepped up when we needed some help with recruiting. And there was I don't want to say a mix-up, but there was a situation with our guild perms set up where recruiters had the same access perms as officers. And Lord Box, very shortly after being named a recruiter, unfortunately, he took it upon himself to rob us of all of our regears, and especially our cabbages that we.
Damn, bro.
Yeah,
God damn it!
yeah.
Not the cabbages again.
Like 30,000 cabbages that were used to feed our hideouts
Holy
and carries.
shit!
How does
poor cabbages.
How do people's minds even go there? You know, like if you're robbing a guild, how does everybody
even
remember
took
to
the
take the
fucking
cabbages?
Yeah, you don't know.
People
Mojo.
always take
It's
the
a huge
cabbages,
meme, bro. It's a huge meme.
Yeah.
You steal a man's cabbages, you steal his ability.
It's like
Dignity.
his life, yeah, his dignity. He can't feed his family. And what
Can't
is a
feed
man
anything.
who cannot feed his
that up and go
family?
buy more cabbage. He's fucked over his whole bloodline.
How much he take? It was like, was it like, I heard it was like half a bill?
600 millish, around 600 mil total. And it's funny you bring this up literally just a couple hours ago. Okay. And I went off like that's what I do. You become my enemy. I go off on you and I go into full attack mode. And I went off on Lord Box and all his friends and everything like that. One of his friends was like, I don't want to be associated with these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember I told Lord Box, one of the things I did tell him, I was like, you know, I befriended you. You know what I mean? Like that was one of the things I said. I was like, I befriended you. I vouched for you when people wanted to kick you from militant because you were ratting outposts instead of coming to ZVZ. And I said all this stuff, you know, and, you know, he didn't really respond to me. King Red did. You saw all that, but Lord Box reached out to me a couple hours ago and apologized. Literally, I'm not even making this up. Literally today, and he said that he realized that, you know, he couldn't live with the fact that he did it to me because I vouched for him, and he realized it was a mistake because, you know, stealing pixels didn't result in anything, but what he lost being in a guild where he could play content and play with friends. You know what I mean? I think he realized that what he did cost. Don't most people who rob guilds get this though? It's kind of like thief's remorse, because you get pegged as a thief, right? Some do. I mean, Robin Hood turned out okay, right? After robbing Buddy Go, yeah,
even got a raise.
Yeah, but I think that most people realize that, you know, these are just pixels. I'm going to spend this silver, even if you RMT it, you're going to spend that money. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the image that you give off and the reputation that you have, that's going to last, right? And I just think that, you know, I forgave Lord Box. You know, I was like, hey man, you know what? We all make mistakes in life. Trust me, I'm not been in a shortage of mistakes, both in life and in game. I've made a lot of mistakes in this game. I'm probably still going to, but when I do something, I do it 100%. Right? If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose 100%. Right? And so that's just the way it is. And I appreciate that he was able to reach out to me and actually apologize about it, but he did rob us of our dignity.
He knew you were coming on here today too, so I mean,
did they give you back the cabbages?
He's gonna go on there and slander me. Let
he
me
did
apologize.
not give back the cabbages. Unfortunately, they're probably rotten by now.
I know you're telling the truth, by the way, because he literally messaged me during when we started the interview, and he's like, "Yo, ask Ruckus if he forgave me yet or not." So I guess he did apologize to you, and he did.
Yeah, he did.
He's not a bad guy, man. Like, he's not a bad guy. I just don't think he understood, because he hasn't played the game for long. I just don't think he understood. Like, robbing a guild is more like you're just hurting the members, not the leadership. So
yeah, and I actually I'm not even sure that him robbing the guild had to be about hurting Militant the guild. Is just, I think just greed got to him. He had access. He's like, oh my god, I have access to all this shit. I could take this right now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's just he took advantage of an opportunity. You know what I mean?
And then probably bought like a skin or something. Was like, oh shit, I'm just gonna go through this money.
Exactly. And being that, you know what, Mojo, being that he was a little bit newer to the game than most of us, his economy is probably not as established as well. And so, you know what I mean? It's harder for people. This is something I take for granted all the time, because we have new-ish members in Militant who don't have established economies. And so when I die, I'm just like, whatever, I don't care. Right. But then we got people in the guild who every time they get ganked or something, dude, it's the end of the world. And it truly is, because they're like, man, I can't.
For them, it is, yeah.
Yeah, I can't afford 2 more sets. Like, you know what I mean? And I take it for granted that I used to be there. You know, when I was in Vastly Superior, I couldn't afford a Swiftclaw. I had to swipe to go to ZVZ sometimes. Straight up, I was like, I got to drop $10 right now because I can't afford to go to ZVZ. You know what I mean? And fortunately, my life was in a situation where that was okay. But for people who it isn't, you know, I can understand where that's hard.
Not to excuse his behavior or nothing, because I'm not that close to him. But
he's blacklisted.
Right.
But I'm half Middle Eastern. I know he's Middle Eastern. A lot of our people, they don't think before they do shit, man. They're like Neanderthals. You understand? So
right.
You have to understand, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was like, yeah, you know, and just like, not just like, but very similar to when Skulk robbed BA. When we got robbed, we actually ended up raising twice as much as we had before. Yeah. So the robbery, like, put us in a position where.
Hold on now. You're giving away too many secrets. You know, like that's a tactic employed by some.
Oh, that's right. We're still poor. We're still poor. Never mind. We're extremely broke.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think we can feed our territories, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, like,
I tried to do that and it didn't work.
What's your opinion on because you guys are an NA guild?
Yep.
Albion's always been mostly EU. Why do you think that is? Why is not so much? Why is the game not as popular on NA as it is on EU? Because NA content was always much smaller than it was than the EU content was.
I think that I think SBI being based in Germany has a large aspect to do with that. I don't know what the marketing for this game is like in Germany. I think that NA expanded for this game a lot when it became a mobile game, because more NA people tend to get into mobile games than PC games, like this, like in this niche. You know what I mean? That's the thing that makes this game interesting, is that because it's one world server, right? It's no matter where you're at, everybody plays on one server in this game. I don't think you can do an open world sandbox full loot PvP MMO with multiple servers. I don't think you can, because you're just not. It's such a niche that you're not going to get a big enough.
It's very hard, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not going to work. And SBI has navigated this in a way to make it possible, but their biggest following, being an EU company, is EU, and 18 is the main timer. And 18's not bad for NA. It really isn't. Like, it's 2, like, I'm Eastern time zone. It's 2 in the afternoon for me. So if you're a college student, you know,
it's definitely doable. Yeah,
it's doable. You can do 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean? So the reason is because it's the best timer for EU and it's a doable timer for ENA.
Gotcha.
And
remember, kids, don't drop out to play Albion.
Well, Africa just doesn't go to college at all. Play Albion, so you know. Sorry, I had to take a knock there.
What was your? So let me ask you a question, and then I want to throw some names at you, and I want you to give us your opinion on it. But before that, what was your best time in Albion? Like the most enjoyable time period in Albion? You know, so for example, when I asked Africa, he told me his season 12 with Homeless Crew by far. When I asked Magic Mark, I forgot what he said. But everybody got a different answer. What was your best time in Albion and your most depressing time on
Albion? My best time in Albion was winning the season with BA and fighting and winning a coalition war, right? We won a coalition war, we won the season, and it was fun because of the war, because of your leadership and everything that we had established. But it was also fun because of like people like Silfreya, man. Like I don't think Silfreya gets enough credit from people outside of BA. They don't realize what he did to help us win that season. You know what I mean? Organizing outposts and organizing castles. You know what I mean?
Like, I mean, the whole last month. Like I didn't play at all in the last month. The whole last month was his leadership, specifically his leadership. So for his leadership. So I mean, I agree with you 100%.
So Freya's a very cool dude to just chill with as well.
Yes, sir. Good person.
Right. And
very cool dude.
Good person.
I had gotten Crystal in the game before, right? In season 7 with VS, and then I think it was season 10 or 11 with BA, whichever. It might have been 12. I can't remember.
Season 13. Season the one you're talking about.
Well, 13 is the one we won, but I got Crystal with BA before that too.
Okay.
But I never won a season. It was a push, and it was, you know, it was a lot of work, but I'm okay with that. You know, it reminded me of when I was building my business, right? Like, I didn't want to get up every single morning at 6 a.m. I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to be out of the house until 10, 11 p.m. every single day. Yeah. Like, but I wanted what that got me. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to run around the map ratting outposts and castles for, you know, 2 hours before a CTA and all this other stuff. Like, but it was fun because we knew what it was going to get us. And it was fun to be a part of it, like kind of in my aspect, like a team. You know what I mean? And it was fun to go do that. And all the while fighting a war and winning a war. Right. It was just an amazing time. And I never want to do it again. Right. I don't want to do it again, but I did it. You know what I mean? What?
You do it once and you never do it again, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You do it once and don't need to do it again. So it's just like when I was training in wrestling, you know what I mean? Like I didn't like running 9 miles a day, getting up at 5:30 in the morning and training again at night. You know what I mean? Like, but what it earned me was something that I absolutely loved, and you know, I never want to do it again. So, you know, that was the best. So that was by far the best. The worst was the end of Death and Taxes for me. Like, I literally put all my Albion silver that I had in the game, and I had a couple 100 million, and I put it all into the guild, and I created the banner and the name of the guild, and I led it for pretty much most of the portion, if not all. And I had a lot of fun, but like when it died, it like, I don't know, like it was like something I created dying. It was like a business like I created dying, and it was just so disappointing because like it was out of my hands because I was an idiot and I agreed to this idea of rotating the GM position, which is stupid. But we did it because I think there's other guilds that do that. I think Conflict does that, where sometimes they rotate whoever's in the GM position.
They do.
Yeah, but the GM is always the same guy, though. You know?
But that's the thing, exactly. And so the real GM is always the same person, right? And so when that guild died and finally I left, and the people who were in leadership at the time didn't follow through on their promises, it was really disappointing for me. Like, and I almost quit the game. I was going to quit. My friend was like, and play in this little guild with us, and that wasn't working out. And I was legit like, I just don't know if I want to play the game anymore. And then the prospect of joining BA came up, and that kind of changed things. So it sucked, but
That's dope, though.
I got through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw some names at you, okay?
Okay.
Actually, first of all, let me ask you, on a scale, because, for example, people don't understand when let's say I talk to you in person, like we're doing now, one-on-one. You're a normal guy, right? You got a family, you got a job. In game, you're super, super toxic. So I'd rather have you on my side than against me. You know, on a, you said that you go too far sometimes, right? And you played MMOs your whole life, so you know what toxic is and shit like that. So do you think you're so desensitized by it that you're always going too far? Do you think that's a possibility? Or do you know when you're going too far?
Let me give an example. This is a really good question. I know when I'm going too far. It's just sometimes in the heat of the moment, I don't care. Okay. Because I'm trying to elicit a response. That's what I care about. And so if I go too far, even knowingly, if I get the response I want, in a way, I'll justify it in my mind. And then later on, I'll be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. Right. But there's one instance where I stopped myself. Okay. And still paid the price.
Can we know what that is? What happened?
Yes. So what happened was, shortly after season 13, I think it was during the off season, people were Gucci Banana was making fun of I think Volk about some sensitive on a sensitive topic. Okay. And I went into his PMs because he was talking crap on public BA Discord, the public channel. Gotcha. I went into his PMs to start just pouring into him, right? And at the same time, another guy was in his PMs because he had access to Gucci Banana's social media, right? He had pictures of Gucci Banana's father, who had passed away, right?
Yeah.
And while I'm crap talking Gucci Banana, I'm shit talking him in his PMs. At the same time, this guy, who I think you know who he is sending him memes from pictures of his dead father, like really fucked up shit, right? And he PMs me, this other guy, and he's like, "Hey, this is a picture of his dad. Like, send it to him." I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking do that. Like that, like I called it right there. I'm like, I'm not going that far. That's messed up. My dad died when I was 7 years old. I'm not about to do that. Right?
Yeah, that's one of those lines, you know.
Yeah, that's a line, and
family's off limits, man.
But Gucci Banana was so upset that he ends up photoshopping a fake Discord conversation between him and me, where I did send him pictures of his dead dad, and it went up on Reddit.
Gotcha.
Right? And I paid the price, even though I made the right choice. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. But I couldn't, especially with my reputation on Reddit, it wasn't like I was about to try to post on there and defend
you
myself.
can't. Yeah, like when the how do you say, when the public opinion, when the court of public opinion is already against you, you cannot.
I'm not going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
right.
Of course. 100%.
So I just decided I'm just not going to say anything about this. This is, you know what I mean? It is what it is. And so it was one of those situations where I didn't go too far, but I recognized it was too far. I have gone too far in saying personal things about people, right? Gotcha. Just about like the joke I made about Del Negro and his kids not being his. most likely not true. I don't know.
That's just
you know
a
what
joke,
I mean?
though. That's just a
Yeah,
joke.
but it was that was why I said it, right? That was why I said it, because it was a joke. I wanted to get a laugh at his expense. Okay, but I don't think Del Negro really took it bad anyway, because it's not true. And just like if somebody said something like that about me, like I had Momono sitting here PMing me about how he was having an affair with my wife, and I'm just like, okay, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not true, so I don't care. Like, you're not affecting me. And Del Negro, I think he does a really I think Del Negro does a good job of brushing that off too. But that the situation with Gucci Banana was just unfortunate, and but it is what it is.
I think it's different. It's two different situations though, because like for example, if you had said something about somebody's like dead family and stuff like that, it's different than if you say like that stuff about Del Negro and his kids not being his.
Yeah.
Because for example, it's like if you tell me, yo Mojo, you're gay, like I'm not gonna get like why would I get upset about that shit, you know?
Yeah, whatever.
Or like
What's wrong with that?
Mojo, you do this, Mojo, you that. Like if it's not true, I'm not gonna get upset. It's that simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that should be the general rule. If it's not true, you're not allowed to be upset by it. It's just how it is.
Exactly.
But about the Gucci Banana stuff, me and him actually we spoke after that whole situation, and we're cool now. Like everything's good, everything's squashed, everything's good. We talked after that. Yeah, so it ended up well. It's okay.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good. And all I was doing was he went after somebody on my side of the fence, and
yeah, you're loyal as fuck when it comes to that type of stuff. I respect that. I respect that you're honest about knowing when you're about to go too far or going too far and stuff like that.
I'll apologize too if I mess up, man. If I go way too far, I'll apologize, but I'm not going to do it until you know what I mean. Like, I'm not going to do it as long as somebody keeps coming at me or lying, right?
So
like,
give me an example of when you've gone too far. Then, like for instance, and you had to go back and apologize.
I think I went too far with the joke about Del Negro's kid. I think I went too far. Let me think. Oh, when one of the dudes that was involved with being in leadership of Death and Taxes, this guy named Goose. I've never apologized about this, but I was wrong because him and I had played for a while. We were kind of friends in game, but then things just went sour because the guild was going in a different direction, and it ended up there was a lot of passive aggressive stuff from him at the end of the day, and basically, I don't want to say I got forced out, but it basically they kind of shoved me out of Death and Taxes, and I was really, I don't know, I was freaking, I was upset about that. And so knowing what I knew about his personal life, I went off. I made some jokes about him to people that were, about his real life, because he struggles too, and everybody struggles, to some degree. But I probably shouldn't have said that stuff, and I never got a chance to apologize to him about it. But if he ever comes to me and wants that, then that's fine. But here's the thing about apologies, right? Like, a lot of people don't know this, but like if I apologize to you, I'm not doing that I'm not doing that for you. Like, I'm doing that for me. I'm apologizing to you because I want to forgive myself for what I did to you. That means I'm really sorry. If I'm not sorry, then I'm not forgiving myself. You understand?
Yeah. There's not a situation where you do it for the other person. I feel like that's just a myth, right? Like, you feel bad for that person, so you want to be apologetic.
And that's exactly what being sorry is you feel bad. So you're apologizing so you can forgive yourself. Now, it's their responsibility to themselves to forgive you, because that is their responsibility to themselves. Because if they don't do that, then they will hold on to that anger. And being angry at somebody and not forgiving them is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm not angry when I go off on people. I don't hate people in the game like that. Like, and if I do, then that's what I'm doing to myself, is I'm poisoning myself in spite of them. And it doesn't make that, logically, that just doesn't make sense, right? That's why I'm going to get a little philosophical on you here, but that's why forgiveness is like the ultimate gift to yourself, right? I forgive somebody means all it means is I'm relieving myself of the stress and anxiety and pain of dealing with what you are or what you did. You know what I mean? So
a novel concept.
Yeah. So Goose, he doesn't play the game anymore. He was in Clubhouse for a while and stuff like that. But, I'm sorry for the screwed up shit that I said about you, but whatever.
That's respectable, though.
I went too far.
So on a scale of 0 to Chernobyl, how toxic you think you are?
Oh, dude, I'm like Russia invading Ukraine and reopening Chernobyl.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You're like a 5 to me.
But what I notice about you though is
Syndic deals with the real scumbags.
Have you ever, Syndic? You've never seen me like when we're running down people in ZVZ. Mojo has seen this. I will start in say chat like, "You suck, you're a shit," or "Quit your guild." You know what I mean? And I'll start spamming it. You know what I mean? Like while I'm killing you. Yeah, while I'm killing you, I want you to feel extra bad. You know what I mean? It's just beating you's not enough. I want you to feel horrible about the fact that you lost to me. You know what I mean? So I go as far as I can. Unless, one thing is when I joined Militant, Sarge made it very clear. He's like, you just never turn it inward, right? Just never do it to the guild.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Should be.
And there's times where if Sarge is trying to work something out diplomatically, that he will try to muzzle me a little bit, like
help me out, bro. Help me out. Don't make it harder for me, type of thing.
Like we're doing a friendly fight with another guild, and I'm lighting up local chat. And he's like, dude, like, you know what I mean? He's like, hey, these guys are gonna help us soon, so like,
you gotta keep the trolls happy, bro, and you keep the trolls happy, and they'll follow you. They'll be your greatest weapon.
Yep.
So let me throw some names at you. You give me the opinion, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We heard what you think about Dominate. We heard what you think about. Actually, tell me what you think about Asterial. Let's start with Asterial. Good person, bad person. What you think?
I think Asterial's a great person. He's my kind of guy, right? I think he had challenges in his real life that he's had to overcome. More so than, I would say the average person in NA, right? To our experience here in North America. But as a shot caller and a leader, man, he's freaking terrific. I wanted to fight and die for him. And he had a lot of those coined phrases like, we're dying here. You know what I mean? Like, die like men. You know what I mean? Like that whole glorious battle.
Yeah, he was from BA. You know that, right? He started calling him
BA and Team Casualty 2, I think. And I remember him talking about that and stuff. So, and he was great. So on he on a scale of 1 to 10, like as a shot caller, I think he's an 8.
He was good. And he was good
for his time. You know what I mean? Things
Definitely
have changed now, but for his time, he was an 8, especially in castles. He was just really good. As a leader, he's about an 8 and everything. He's really good. I like Asterial and I respect him a lot. And I hope he's having a good time with his career that he's building. I know a little bit about, so yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I like him too.
He had a little bit of problem with the sauce for a little bit, but it made for some fun CTAs. when your shot caller is just like AFK running on the edge of the map and wondering why the Zerg's not following. But he's a good dude. I respect him.
Another name I'll throw at you, Gluttony.
So I've unfortunately I haven't had too many like personal interactions with Gluttony, but what I'll say is this: I have to respect what he's been able to do, like in this game and for this game. Like, and regardless of how anybody feels, Arch is good for this game. Arch was really good for this game,
sure.
And it created content and it created avenues for progression for players, and it created community, which is in a game like this, that's what you need. You need communities. You know what I mean? Arch is good for the game, and I think that what Gluttony does is great because it looks like, at least from at face value, he's able to shrug off all the BS.
You have no idea.
And just having 4 kids, right? I don't know how he could run an operation like that. Like imagine having 20,000 kids. Okay. Like, oh my God. Like
Well,
Syndic, I don't know
imagine,
how
like,
you guys do it,
Probably
man.
only
Like,
seen like 100.
Do what?
of
Do
them,
what?
that's
Do
why.
what? Hold on. Do what?
you just I don't know how you handle having 20,000 idiots that have, you know what I mean, like or whatever, like what Glut does, and what PoE has been.
Oh, Doug has a much harder time than I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Syndic is a very patient dude. He deals with a lot of shit, but Glut, I don't think any of us have the level of patience that Glut has.
No,
Jeez.
nobody else in this
Yeah,
game.
you need to have a certain level of a certain character, certain personality that you
Bro,
can't learn that.
we get mad at him because of how patient he is.
Yeah, man. He'll
Right,
give not second chances. He'll give 10 chances. Like he's super
Mhm.
patient with
I'm
people.
like, bro, ban this retard, bro. Never again. And he'll be in here next week.
Yeah.
Like, he's reformed, man. He's a good guy who's going through something. Next time it happens, same shit. I don't know where he finds the patience, bro,
Yep.
but he
And then
does.
loses a commandment, right?
Yeah.
Another name I'll throw at you, Dominant. Because you told us about Surf and stuff like that, but what do you think about his character?
Right.
Good caller, good leader. What do you think?
I think right now he's a gigantic phony. I think he's a poser, right? I think he wants to be known as one of the best GMs and callers in the game, but he's not accomplishing it in the way that it needs to be done. Instead, he's trying to find the shortcut. That's what I think about
He's a
Dominant. I
good
think
caller though. He's a good caller, right? Like compared to what I see today.
I mean, I can't say that because I'll say he's a good caller when he can win an outnumbered fight, but he won't because he just runs. He won't take them. He doesn't want to do it the hard way. This is what I get. So like, I can't respect the man until he finds a way to redeem that quality.
I'm
You know
pretty
what I
sure he was like that at once, though, wasn't he? Like, didn't they start off just balls to the wall and fighting everything and losing a lot? So maybe
So
that's something he learned with age.
Not
He has been
really.
around a while too.
I actually interacted with Dominant back like before military.
This is why they say you be beating your kids. By the way, I get it now.
This see what I mean? Like dealing with a whole guild of that. Like, how do you do that?
What if
right?
he doesn't even have
Give me-
kids? It's just background. It's a fucking sound.
What if it's a
He's gotta play it
soundboard?
off
What if
his
it's a
kid.
for immersion
soundboard?
to raise the immersion, bro?
He's got 10 hours of kid sounds on his fucking
Right?
PC right
Right. So when I was running Death and Taxes, we went up to Thetford, and we left Thetford during season 9 because Elevate basically evicted us. Well, no, Elevate didn't evict us. Elevate had Valen join the war against PoE, but prior to that, Shiro brought Black Order up to fight Valen during 18 UTC, right? And Shiro paid us to bomb squad for him against Valen, who held the Terry where our thing was. Anyway, and it created bad blood between us and Valen. So Valen started to, when they joined Elevate in the coalition in season 9, they decided to kick us out of our home in whatever it was called. And we moved to Thetford. So long story short, we moved to Thetford, and we wanted to own some territories. We were allied with Dutch Squad at the time. And that was when
My
Dominant.
condolences.
Yep. That was when Dominant was forming the huge coalition in Thetford to fight Sancta, right? And it was basically everybody in Thetford was either in Talion and Sancta or the last season guild, or you were in the Surf coalition fighting against them.
Where you going with
And
this?
so,
Where you going with
huh?
this?
Where I'm going with this is that we joined on Dominant's side, right, to fight against Sancta because I hated Sancta. And for like a week or two, no, it was like 2 weeks, and I got to experience Dominant in TeamSpeak trying to organize a coalition, and the way that he just treated the guilds that were helping him out, like, I just did not like this dude. Like, I thought he was stupid. I thought some of his decisions were not very good. Like, he wanted people to sit AFK on territories when they were needed in a fight in the next zone, but he cared more about the territory than winning the fight. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. So you just don't respect his mentality. You just don't respect his mentality.
I don't respect it at all. So it dates back to that, but now this all just confirms it for me, right? I don't like this mentality and this approach to the game. It's not fun, in my opinion. It doesn't make sense. Like, who cares about ratting a territory? Dude, fight. That's what the game is fun. I don't know how his members like stand it. Like, how can you be in a guild where your guild leader literally tells you to sit AFK in a dungeon instead of getting into a fight? And like, that's what you geared up for. It just doesn't make sense to me. So Dominance, in my opinion, is a shot caller. I guess his results make him at least a 5, right? As a leader, he's a 2, in my opinion.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean?
That was a very low score, bro.
Yeah.
You got to give him a little bit more than that.
Okay, 2.5.
Based off of longevity, I feel like.
Yeah, just because he's been here for a while.
So
he's experienced.
Like
for example,
the one thing I'll say is he's pragmatic, right? He's gotten this longevity. He's gotten the results he's gotten because he's not put his Zerg and his alliance in a position to lose, right? But every time he was evicted, what did he do? He never even admitted to being evicted. He said, "We relocated." He's not even willing. He's not even willing to admit defeat when it actually happened. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like that reeks, to me, it reeks of insecurity.
Never lost.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you just have to understand, like, this generation of Albion, right? This is like post Queen and stuff like that. It's a little bit different, bro, because everybody's playing for the battle boards and everybody's playing for the image. They're not playing for. It's not as competitive as before, right? Like before, when there was no Reddit, everyone used to use the forums, so people used to talk shit on there. And before battle boards, people used to fight. They didn't need the validation. Like, oh, I can't let people see that we lost a fight today, because that's what it is today. And you just have to understand, like, the conditions of how the game is, because there's battle boards, because there's Reddit. The people that are joining today, they're not gonna have as much adversity to face as much as people that played like 2-3 years ago. 2-3 years ago was completely different, So
whole different ballgame,
yeah. And so I think that's one thing. I do agree with the one thing I do agree with you though is if I was dominant, what I would have done is one of those times where, like, for example, that he got evicted, what I would have done is focus on strengthening the guild a little bit more and say fuck alliance. Don't worry about alliance for a bit. Because a lot of times, having a big alliance is just difficult because you're not focusing as much on your guild, so your guild will suffer. So what I would have done in that situation is definitely take title, cut the alliance bullshit for a bit, and strengthen title, and then build on top of that if you wanted to rebuild surf. That's what I would have done personally. But I'm not him, and I'm not saying he went the wrong route. Like, to me, Dom is fine. Like, he's not the best caller in the game. He doesn't have the best guild in the game, but they're still in the top, right? They're still considered in the top. He's considered one of the top ones. So I can't really say that what he's doing is wrong. I'm just saying what I would have done in his position.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes
so
sense.
I don't know what you think about that. But another name I wanted to throw at you is Big Banana. What you think about him?
Dude, you know what? Like, even though he's always been, not always, but anytime I've ever fought against him, or anywhere in a war that he was involved with, he was always my enemy. He's never been my ally, right?
Yeah.
And but you got to respect someone who can rally that many troops, first of all, right? But the one thing is this, man, he took determination to the next level. You got to respect what he was able to do with Red Tree. He finally did it, right? Like that's what I respect. You say, if you're a leader and you say you're going to do something, but you don't follow through on that, and then you just give up after 1 or 2 times that you fail, then in my opinion, you're a poser. You know what I mean? You're a fake. You know what I'm saying? But if you're willing to go back 3 or 4 times and finally get it done, regardless of the circumstances,
You have to
then
respect
that's commendable. You have to respect that. And in a way, I think that at some point that does become desperate, which is, in my opinion, what the case became for Elevate, right? Where it went from being determined to desperation, right? But with Big Banana, you know, he got it done.
Desperation how? What do you mean by
at-
desperation?
when you lose your core values and you're willing to give up, you know, your principles, then you're not who you are, right? And Elevate being the anti-hand holding, anti-RMT, anti all this, being the anti-coalition, and then literally doing everything that they ever swore to hate in the game, and just in order to win, they're sacrificing themselves, right?
Just a lot worse, though.
Yeah, then a lot worse, because they rent. Their leaders, all, you know, a bunch of their leaders, you know, are into some shady crap, right? And they have to handhold to get it done. You know what I mean? So, and it's sad too, because like from a skill standpoint, and like you know, their Zerg is, I don't think anybody would argue, is the best in the game.
Even
right?
Donut could win, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, look, they're winning even with, you know, it doesn't matter almost who's the caller half the time, right? But but on topic of Big Banana, like, I've heard the video chats of him, and people love him, man. They want to fight for him, and so I got to respect that. But there's not much more I know about that, so, because I don't know too much more about him.
I mean,
but he's good for the game in the same way that Gluttony is, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because he pushes content. That's what it's about. He pushes for content. People are going to fight. People are willing to die for a leader. That's good for the game.
Are you and Momono cool now, or is there still some animosity? You said that you had issues with him before. That's the next name I'll throw at you.
Yeah, Momono.
Did your opinion on him change?
No, but I don't need to act on it. He's not active. He's not really, you know what I mean? He's not playing the game anymore. He's also not my opponent. You know what I mean? So I don't need to do that.
You're indifferent.
Some of the things, yeah, I'm indifferent at this point. It doesn't, it really, for me, my opinion changes when he does, right? And I say that because, you know, and hold on just a second.
Sure. I'm gonna ask him about you and
so
both of y'all.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
yeah, what it was with Momono was like, he was always the one that was so loud in regards to crying about everything. Like people talk about the way I was on Reddit, which I'm not anymore. But dude, nobody cried on Reddit more than Momono did. Nobody. As a matter of fact, you know what? The actual CTA didn't matter to Momono for the longest time. It was the freaking Trash Talk Discord CTA that mattered more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What about my two homies over here, Seed and Cynic? What's your opinion on them?
You know, I hated Syndic for the same reason that I hated you before joining BA.
Thank you.
Right? Exactly. See, you're welcome, sir. You're welcome. But you know, I respect Syndic a lot, and Seed, you know, obviously, you know, being kind of like being your ally through, you know, some fights and stuff like that. You know, obviously, you know, I like I said, I saw you. It's like you're my fellow soldier on the field. You know, I'll fight and die for you, and I'll defend you, and not just with fighting in game, right? I actually started to defend Syndic on the forums and in Reddit, and you know what I mean, and all that other stuff, because you know, everything comes full circle for me. It's not just, you know, I'm not just logging on for the CTA. I've got to make it the whole experience,
Gotcha.
right? So Seed's a good dude. Syndic's a good dude. Lord Syndic, the evil emperor.
No, I'm not evil.
What about Magic Mark? I saw you were here for the interview.
So Magic Mark is hard for me. So I learned about Magic Mark back in the Death and Taxes.
I'm a big Magic Mark fan.
I think I'm a fan, but I'm still in that, you know, that meme where it's like, can't tell if trolling or not.
Gotcha.
Like my meter that is like, is he real or is he trolling, is literally hitting both sides of the freaking meter at the same time with him. I just don't know. Right. But I heard about Magic Mark back in the Death and Taxes days because I had a lot who came from Nuke Jade Cove, which I think is a guild that he made.
Yes, sir.
Right. and they talked about him a little bit there, right? Especially the females. You know what I mean? And the only time I've ever had girls in my guild who spoke of their GMs that way was when I had some people come from Albion and Imperium and said, you know, this Accio guy is he talks to girls a little differently in the game.
I love Accio. Shout out to Accio.
So I've never had any interactions with Magic Mark. And then these last couple of interviews they've just like, dude, bravo. I'd like bravo, Magic Mark. Like, give this motherfucker an Oscar. Like, holy shit.
Oh, wow.
the homeless to Harvard thing, beautiful. That's where I came up. You know what I mean? That's where I came up with that. I went Waffle House to White House, baby. You know, because I can't let Magic Mark get away with that one. I got to one up him now.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Man.
Maybe I can start like a little. What are they? Maybe I can become. Holy shit! Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, it's the you gotta turn on the sound effects, bro. You gotta turn that shit.
I gotta turn the
pause the video for a second, bro.
Yeah. Motherfuckers actually think he has a
family.
family.
The thing about Magic Mark was we didn't tell anybody, but he was a paid actor, so.
There it is. That's what though. He give him an Oscar, dude. He killed it. He killed it. You know what I mean?
All right, last couple names. Africa now.
Oh man. So Africa, he can rally the troops, man. He's a good shot caller as long as it's a castle or a choke. I think open world. I think he gets pummeled most of the time, and I don't know if that's because of the way he designs his Zergs with like the bomb squads and stuff, or if that's his style of calling. I don't know.
Who else am I missing? What about my baby girl Tamisha? Hello?
Who's that?
Oh, you know him as Tamashi.
Oh, Tamashi. Dude, Tamashi sent me when we were on AOTV. He was crying about lag in a ZVZ they lost, and I started going in on him. It was on the AOTV stream. I started going in on him and being like, "Oh, Elevate only cries." They complain about lag when they lose and blah blah blah. And I was just trolling him. He PMs me. And I sent you the screenshot of this. He PMs me on freaking Twitch. And he's like, he told me that my kids should kill themselves or something like that to spare themselves of having me as a father. Like, he went deep, dude. Like,
I feel like he was role playing, though. Like, this is the Tamashi slander free zone, so.
I mean, Tamashi as a caller is a great caller. I think that I don't know how old he is, but he's a good caller, but he's I think he's one of those Elevate Zoomers, man. And these kids, they just I don't know, man. It's a different generation of people. They can't accept failure. Anytime they do, they need therapy, right? Or drugs. And they cry about anything that they can't get. If they don't win, it's all about making excuses and crying. And I just don't agree with that. And honestly, in my eyes, that's become the slogan of Elevate. Is just, we cry to get what we want, and if we don't get it, we're going to make excuses. And then when we win, we're going to act like we're the greatest thing that God ever created. It just doesn't appeal to me.
Last one, Emiya Shiro.
Shiro?
Yes, sir.
Man, the Husky charge was hilarious, wasn't it? Shiro's great. I think Shiro's great for the game. And I think almost all these people are great for the game. Africa's great for the game. Tamashi's good for the game.
They're all necessary.
They're all necessary parts of the game. But Shiro is really good for the game. And he creates drama and conflict. And that's what creates wars, and that's what makes this game fun. And so at the end of the day, regardless of everybody's personal faults, and trust me, I am in no shortage of that on my own, it's all about just making the game fun and making it meaningful and having meaningful fights. And the trash talk is all peripheral to that, right? And it may play a part of it, but Shiro, man, I think Magic Mark would argue that he's responsible for the Black Order season victories and not Shiro, but Shiro was the one who laid the groundwork for all that to happen. And they weren't far off from doing 3 in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think they were far off from doing it. It just didn't work out for them.
They weren't.
Yeah, but Shiro, man, and I hope I don't think he's playing the game much right now, but I hope he returns to the game because
He's
it'll be
playing.
a lot of fun. Okay, good.
Oh, how could I forget Derek?
Derek's
Good
back.
friend Derek.
Derek's back.
He just made a guild.
He just made a guild called Consequence.
Yep.
Yeah, he's back in the game, and Derek is a pivotal figure in the game, and so similar to Shiro. Now I will say this: Derek has obviously a record of some of the best voice rages in this game's history, and
You're not lying, bro.
wow, just wow. That guy brings out the entire anger of all of the history of Scotland, right? Like he just brings it all out at once. I think he channels a little William Wallace and then just goes off, and it's terrific. But he's good for the game. I don't understand why anybody would follow him, but they do, and it's fun. It's fun, man. And but you know what? Here's another thing, and I know this not from experience, just from knowing. Derek's also technically one of the best players the game's ever seen.
Yeah.
Kind of like a guy like Goof. He's just one of the best GVGers the game has ever seen. And unfortunately, the game's circumstances are not really leading to where that's really looked upon much anymore or needed.
Yeah.
But that's not forgotten, at least by me and a lot of players who played back then.
No. Like I said, my first GVG was versus him in Cargera, and it broke my spirit. It was the hardest game I've ever played.
Yo, last one, and we'll let you go, bro, because we're hitting on top of 2 hours now. Last one is Shozen.
Oh man. I'm glad you chose this one as the last one. I'm glad. I'm so glad.
Free slander though,
So here's the thing. I don't. You know what? I'm trying to think if I should be nice here or not.
You have to be nice.
This is your interview, bro. It's centered around your name. So
okay. So I think Shozen's a garbage caster.
Oh shit!
This is. I don't.
I'm gonna be nice here.
Listen,
this is his nice, by the way. This is his
being
nice.
I don't think he's very good. I don't think he's a likable personality. Now he's better than Bogle. Bogle is freaking Ben Stein. That motherfucker is boring.
No, but the thing you gotta see, Bogle. I gotta defend him. Listen, I don't care, but Bogle does all the background work. He's not really the caster,
I know, but do you put Ben Stein on the mic?
You could, though. That's the thing, right? You could.
Why? I know shows. Look, I know those guys do a lot of work. I get that. I respect that, right? It's not about how much work they do. I just think that sometimes you're good and sometimes you just aren't. And I think that I could cast for this game and make it exciting. Dude, get Magic Mark on there. Somebody get Magic Mark on freaking.
Dude, Seed, bro. Seed will be great at that shit.
Get somebody who is either a likable character or at least entertaining to some degree. And this isn't a personal slam on Shozen. I'm making a professional critique. Okay. It's just, and the fact that he doesn't play the game very much really shows in his stream. You know what I mean? Sometimes he seems like he doesn't even know where the state of the game is. And so I'm sure he works hard. Yeah, I'm sure he works hard. I'm sure that he takes his profession seriously. I just don't think that he has the goods to really make that an enjoyable stream, and their viewership kind of shows. So
yeah, sometimes you gotta know when to let go. To be honest, he's good at managing everything, but I mean, I will put different kinds.
Yeah, exactly. So
Robin and Lupac are hands down for me the best. They're so good at what they do.
Yeah, I think Magic Mark is a better choice, to be fair.
Yeah, I like Lupac. I like Lupac is Lupac's old YouTube videos explaining how Fame Overflow and Fame credits worked was the only way. Things like that taught me aspects of the game that
totally.
nobody else taught me.
Yeah, his 5v5 casting was super dope too. He was really good.
Yeah. But like I said, I know all those guys work hard. I just think that especially after this many years, I think it's time for an upgrade in talent on that show. In that respect. So
yeah, Magic Mark.
Yeah, Magic Mark would be great. would be terrific. You know, somebody who can say something and come up with like one of those catchy one-liners that they always say.
Yeah. People
Yeah,
cook on their feet, man. Like it's so good, you know.
Yeah, and the other thing about it is that they need to, the casters also need to start taking on the play-by-play plus the color announcer. You know what I mean? The way that the NFL does it, where you have one guy doing play-by-play. Hold on.
Said you need a color announcer.
No, not colored. Although I mean, it is 2022, so we need to cover all our bases. But you know what I mean. So no, the color announcer is the person who provides the background, more technical information between the plays of the game. You know what I mean? And that's what John Madden did when he did Monday Night Football, right? He would explain the technical stuff between each play, but the actual play-by-play was done by somebody else.
R.I.P. John Madden.
Anyway, so that's how I feel.
I kind of agree with everything you said to me.
And yeah, you were pretty fair there, at least. So,
I would love to do something like that for the record. I would love to do it.
Would you do it for free?
I think you would be good at it.
I wouldn't care, especially because I have the passion for this game. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit about the money.
You would bring that energy, you know, the hype and knowledge.
You have to bring the energy and the
and
hype.
knowledge. That's important.
Like think about it. Like think about you know, the way that, you know, people who don't experience it, like, don't like the shout cast, the shout callers like Sarge is. You know what I mean? And like, wait, who was it? The arch shout caller of the Lint Liquor. I remember I saw a Lint Liquor video, and the first time I saw it, I thought, who the hell follows this idiot, right? And then I did some ZVZ, and I was like, man, I wish my caller would scream like that. You know what I mean? Because it just gets exciting, and it just adds color. It adds, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It adds drama to it, and they need someone like that. Maybe not to that extreme, but they need somebody who adds that flavor to the AOTV stream. They need it needs a personality. You know what I mean? Like,
SBI hit me up.
Like there you go. See,
to me,
get them.
shot call a couple times. I'll bring like midway that energy.
And the last question, Ruckus, before we let you go, bro. If you can, I asked Magic Mark this. After this, we're gonna ask every single guest this question. If you can meet 3 people, alive or dead, who would they be?
Well, first, alive, I want Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Hey, that's a good pick. I like that.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I definitely want to meet him because
I feel like everybody likes him.
That guy he exhibits joy and positivity, and I mean, you know, he's a highly successful guy. Hold on just one second.
Sure.
Who came from nothing too. That guy was practically homeless. He got the Magic Mark story, you know?
The homeless to Harvard?
Yeah.
I mean, bro, not Magic Mark. Yo, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is probably the biggest celebrity in the world.
He's definitely
also
like
probably one of the most famous wrestling families of all time as well.
Yeah.
So I mean,
okay, sorry, I'm back. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson alive. Elon Musk, 100%.
Okay.
Holy shit! I would love to gosh, man, just have me hang out with Elon Musk for like a day, man.
He was one of mine too.
You know what I mean? Like it's just how he thinks of things. You know what I mean? And his approach. And what I love about Elon Musk is that just the entire concept of, it doesn't matter if I might fail. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to try until I die. I mean,
what would you ask him if you could sit down with him?
How did they get their government contracts?
No.
We already know how to do that, remember? We were educated last stream.
Magic Mark taught us that shit, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'd ask him a lot, but and I've read a lot about Elon and everything, and I follow him a lot on social media. So if I could ask him about anything, it would probably be, you know, like, man, it's hard. Like, where would you start? You have a great concept and a great idea. Like,
I would ask him a total random question, like, "Do you believe in aliens?" or some shit like that first.
He 100% does.
Segue in, you know.
He 100% does.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elon is just. I could ask him questions and hang out with him for hours. But he's definitely one of two. So you got The Rock, And you know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson was also a state champion wrestler too, so I have some things that I could relate to with him. And then I mean, I want to go classical. I want to go with someone not alive. I'd have to say Genghis Khan.
There it is.
Everybody picks that, bro. Everybody likes that.
I even did it on my first one too. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
me too.
Right.
it makes sense.
Like,
He has so much of his DNA in the world. He had
the
to
ultimate
see
alpha
so
male.
many things, bro. Like,
right. And I think that especially in North America, we don't really dive deep into like Asian history very much. So it's hard, but I have a history degree and I studied this stuff a little bit more, at least extensively, than you get into an American textbook. Genghis Khan conquered like more of the world than pretty much anybody else has ever done in history, right? And man, like it is just ruthless. You know what I mean? So yeah, Genghis Khan.
So I think
All
unless C Flaco or Cindy got one more question, and if they don't, then we'll just wrap it up right there. I think we hit that.
I have like 20 PMs I have to catch up on now.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for any aspiring trolls? Any people who are just afraid to be that anti-hero that their guild needs?
Yeah, definitely. So if I was going to give them any advice, I'd say that never go on the defensive. That's how you lose, right? That's the reason that's one of the things that makes Fred so good, because you said it really well, Mojo. You're like, don't even try with Fred. He doesn't look up from his keyboard.
Yeah, he talks shit.
Yeah.
He looks only at his keyboard. He doesn't even look at the screen.
Yep. Exactly.
The replies.
Yep.
He can't even see the replies, bro.
Yeah. If you want to be a good anti-hero, you don't respond. You don't go on the defensive. You go full attack mode nonstop until your fingers are numb. Okay, that's how you do it. That's how you get it done. The best way to do something is 110%.
Oh my god,
10%. That's my advice. All right.
You and Freddy got hella stamina, bro. I'll give you that much.
I like
All
Fred.
right.
He's funny.
All right, Mojo. Thank you so much, man. This is fun. This was fun. I gotta answer these PMs, and I think I.
Whoa! Hold on, you never answered my question.
Oh shit, Cindy got a question
okay.
too.
Okay.
So, hypothetical, right? Tomorrow, Serve dies, Dominate quits the game. You know, what's the next thing? Because like I know you guys have been trying to build up EU for a while with Boldy, and then you went with Seven Ulu a little bit. How's that going? How do you see it going? What's the next thing for you guys?
I don't know. That's a good question.
He's got gang ordered.
He got ganked IRL.
I did. Yo, he just headlocked him. Okay, so my 5-year-old just headlocked my 3-year-old, right? And so my 3-year-old decides to bite the arm of my 5-year-old, and now he's screaming. Yeah, and I'm proud of him, but I got to make sure he's okay. You know what I mean?
Always go on the offensive, right?
Always go on the offensive. That's right. But like, what I think is up next for Militant is we're gonna just keep doing what we do, no matter what, man. Like if we can mass 40, we're gonna bring it, right? And if we can mass 80, we're gonna be looking to go out there and kill people regardless, and that's just the way it is. And if we can get an EU presence, we can already mask quite a bit during EU hours. We just don't have like a shot caller because Boldy is
Boldy.
He's gone. And then Seven Ulu was here for a little bit, but he decided to go in a different direction. So I think honestly, we're probably 10 active people and one shot caller away from having an active EU presence.
No, that's good.
Yeah, it's because we got the people there and the content's there. We just need a little bit more to make it official. But if that's in our future, it is what it is. But other than that, we're just going to keep on rolling with what we got. We're going to keep the dumpster fire rolling downhill, baby. That's the way it goes. All righty.
So that's that. Yo, Ruckus, I know you gotta go.
Yep.
Thanks so much for sitting with us, bro. It was fun.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks a lot. And hell yeah, when we're done with Surf, by the way, we're 3 OGs next.
Excellent.
Oh shit!
right.
Oh shit!
All right.
Okay.
I'm out.
I see you, bro.
He dropped the mic and left.
So there goes that cynic. By the way, we gotta schedule an interview for you, sir, because that's. I think you and a Derek interview. Those two will be the biggest ones.
Damn, dude. Those
Not a
are
bad
bangers
person
right
to
there.
interview. After Magic Mark, nobody can top that. Nobody.
That would be interesting though.
I mean, even
Hold
this
my
one,
beer.
Ruckus, yeah, Seed is gonna be a good one. But there's a lot of people don't know a lot of shit about
Yeah, of
Seed,
course.
for example. A lot of people don't know a lot of shit about Syndic. So I think those are gonna be the fun ones.
Yeah, because everybody always hears one side, you know what I mean? And then they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. So that's it, boys. We're gonna host somebody. Let's look for somebody, and then we'll probably do a stream on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll let you guys know who we're gonna interview for next week. So thanks for watching, boys.